right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Temperatures in the 30s this morning. It was another very chilly morning. How many more mornings that we're going to deal with this, those under a frost advisory, and one more back into the 80s.
Remembering Whitey. Tonight, the legendary baseball manager's family is sharing more about his love of the game and the love of his life. Our top story, a 9-year-old boy critically injured by a hit-and-run driver during a family trip to the park.
Everybody speeds down Broadway and don't have no sympathy.
Another reminder of the constant danger on the streets of St. Louis. First tonight, we're following breaking news. Right now, police on the scene of a deadly shooting in North St. Louis. This is a live look at that scene near Goodfellow and Wyndham. That's right off I-70. Investigators tell us a man was shot in the head while sitting in his car. We're working to learn more about what led up to this shooting and if there are any suspects. We will keep you updated as we learn more. Back to our other top story. Within the last few hours, the driver who pinned a 9-year-old child between two cars turned himself into police. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush. The crash happened around 11 this morning in North City, right next to Hickey Park on North Broadway. 5 on your side's Laura Barczewski talked with neighbors and pedestrian advocates about their traffic concerns in that area. Laura?
Mike, I talked with a mom of 2 kids, soon to be 4, who lives right across from the park and heard the crash happen. She told me the street is so dangerous, she doesn't even cross it.
I was in my room and I heard like a big boom.
Nikki Tanner says she ran out of her house around 11 Sunday morning and saw a little 9-year-old boy pinned between a truck and a van next to Hickey Park. She called 911 right away.
Everybody, the community was trying to help get the baby from being stuck and struck between the car.
Then she saw the driver of the truck get out and run. St. Louis police say he turned himself in later. Dispatch logs show the boy was trapped for about 30 minutes before first responders could get him free and rush him to the hospital.
And it just kind of broke me down. I started crying as a mother seeing that happen. And I was just like, I pray he pulls through and get through everything.
Tanner says she sees the family at the park all the time.
This mom, she loves her kids. She always with her kids. Her kids is always by her side. That's the only thing I see. And it's sad because I never take my kids to this park because I be kind of scared of the same thing because everybody speeds down Broadway and don't have no sympathy. Don't stop at these lights or none of that.
TrailNet policy catalyst Charles Bryson says Broadway is one of the most dangerous streets in the city.
There is really no safe way to get across for several reasons. Number one, you don't see the lighting that it would indicate when somebody is supposed to cross as a pedestrian. 2, you see a very, while it's not wide, it's very fast. And there's no traffic calming measures that are in place to reduce the speed of the vehicles.
Bryson hopes several city measures can change this, including speed or red light cameras, which the Board of Aldermen recently approved, and a mobility plan Mayor Tashara Jones signed off on.
We hope that mobility plan, first and foremost, focuses on pedestrians. Secondly, it focuses on bicyclists. And third, is vehicles. Vehicles will always be able to get around, but it's pedestrians and bicyclists that have a greater chance of being hurt and or killed.
Tonight, police say this little boy is recovering after surgery this afternoon, and 2 adults were also injured and treated at the scene.
A Jefferson County man is dead after he was hit by an SUV outside his home. That crash happened just before noon in Imperial on Old Highway M. The Missouri Highway Patrol tells us the victim is 62-year-old Stephen Otto. The driver was taken to the hospital. A Washington, Missouri man is recovering tonight after he was thrown from his pickup truck near Six Flags. The crash this afternoon caused a backup on eastbound I-44 outside the amusement park. The Highway Patrol says a semi-driver hit the side of the pickup, causing it to lose control. It was another beautiful day today. Cool air tonight at the Kirkwood Farmers Market, and you might want to hold off planting those springtime flowers. Most of the area is under a frost advisory overnight. Meteorologist Gary Frank joins us now with that Weather First forecast.
Yeah, of course, Kirkwood in one of the spots, but there are some areas that probably will stay a little bit warmer, but maybe the last day that we have to deal with this or talk about this as we get close to the end of April here so far, but the wind, not a factor. Look how clear it is throughout, and without that cloud cover, that's kind of our insulator, so any heat we gain during the day escapes, and with calm winds and our current conditions in the low 40s already, I would say a little cooler than we were yesterday at this time, not in the city Toledo with still 51 degrees. That makes a big difference. This entire part of the region is under a frost advisory as we start to reach the tail end of where we're going to see that, right? You see all those areas. Of course, one of the spots not involved, the city, but the county, of course, and many other spots are involved in that frost advisory Monday morning. As I think we'll drop to 40 in the city, but mid-30s outside of the city. Keep in mind, we started off in the mid to upper 30s or even close to freezing in some cases. Now, the week ahead, we've got one more cold morning that we just discussed, but then it's closer to normal. And we have another storm chance, and actually multiple storm chances that we may have to deal with severe weather. We'll time that out and talk about just how cold it gets over the next 48 hours.
All right, Gary, thanks. Washington University shut down the final day of its long-running 13 carnival due to, quote, safety concerns. Last night, police rushed to campus after several fights broke out on the fairgrounds. Crews were out this morning to break down the rides and tents. A WashU spokesperson released a statement calling the situation unfortunate. Others say it was not necessary.
If there was a greater threat, I think the university should let people know that. If it was just simply an abundance of caution, which they said, I think it's an overreaction.
I think it's just so disappointing to see that violence can ruin really pretty and beautiful traditions, and I think that as a community, we should try to prevent stuff like this.
The carnival, which dates back to 1907, has only been canceled a handful of times before, including during World War II and the COVID pandemic. Tomorrow, opening statements will begin in the trial of a man accused of killing a St. Louis police officer. Thomas Kinworthy is charged with first-degree murder in the death of Officer Tamaris Bohannon back in 2020. Another officer was injured. Kinworthy pleaded not guilty due to mental illness. Mental health evaluations led to court delays for months. The trial is expected to last about 2 weeks. 5 on Your Side will bring you the latest from the courtroom as the trial unfolds. The Hazelwood East student who spent weeks in a coma after a horrific off-campus fight is making progress in her recovery and even walking again with little to no assistance. The father of Kaylee Gaines shared that update tonight with 5 on Your Side. He says she still needs to wear a safety helmet and is missing part of her skull after surgery. The 16-year-old will also need more physical, speech, and occupational therapies. The Gaines family says they're incredibly thankful for the community's prayers and support. Well, tonight the family of Whitey Herzog is sharing more of their memories of the legendary Cardinals manager. He died last week at the age of 92. His loved ones in New Athens, Illinois, talk with 5 on Your Side's Annie Krall tonight. Annie?
Mike, Whitey led the Cardinals to 3 pennants and a World Series title in only 5 years, from 1982 to 1987. His style of play, called Whitey Ball, was known for speed on the bases, but tonight his family is slowing things down with us, reflecting on how life has been just 5 days after his death and sharing new photos with 5 on Your Side of his life off the field.
A wreath of flowers stood tall this weekend in Busch Stadium to honor Whitey Herzog. His wife, Mary Lou, spent most of her Sunday morning with her cousins Jim and Judy Newman as she continued to cope with Whitey's passing.
Her faith, if anything will pull her through, it will be her devoted family and her faith.
After a recent hospitalization, the Hall of Fame Cardinals manager was moved into hospice.
It was a surprise because maybe they just didn't want it to happen, and so, it's hard to deal with reality in a situation like that.
Mary Lou and Whitey got married in their hometown of New Athens, Illinois at St. John's United Church of Christ. So did Judy and Jim, who always looked up to their marriage of more than 70 years before Whitey's death on Monday night.
They were high school sweethearts, and just like my wife and I were the same way, and it was just great. But that's what small towns are about. I think that it just happens.
For the last week, people keep coming into Jim's Highway Lumber Company in New Athens giving their condolences and making the White Rat a daily topic of conversation for the regulars at the Bullpen Bar and Grill. Dennis Breithop has eaten many lunches here since moving to New Athens in 1957, never forgetting Whitey or his signature generosity.
The most memorable thing that I remember in 1982 is when the Cardinals were in the World Series. He personally came down and hand-delivered World Series tickets to all of his classmates that he played baseball and basketball with in high school.
In Whitey's hometown, in a city of about 2,000,
And it'll be talked about forever, probably, because he was such a guy that, you know, cared about New Athens like he did.
The family hasn't made any official plans yet for a celebration of life in Whitey's honor. Neither have the Cardinals at this point. Sports director Frank Cusmano will, of course, have more on his legacy coming up at 10:30 on Sports Plus.
He's a neighborhood fixture, calling it a career.
He goes above and beyond.
The special delivery neighbors had for the man who's always delivered for them.
My heart is full.
No phone zone. The message tonight for drivers as road construction season ramps up.
A pretty widespread frost advisory for much of our region. Why it may be the last one of the season, and when we're already timing out more chances for severe weather.